Well, it was at the time that affirmative action was a very popular theme, I guess, of conversation, and I was having a lot of conversation with friends about it, and I was more and more concerned about that there wasn't fair treatment in education, which included sports, and so that should be changed. And so I took it a bit farther that in sports, what the race was an issue, and money. And coming out of volleyball as my basis of thinking, it was a very good example of what was wrong with a lot of sports in this country. That if you weren't white and if you didn't have a lot of money in certain sports, you weren't going to be included. And I decided I'd try to use volleyball, since that was my sport, and try to enter that arena. And volleyball was essentially was played by girls in the so-called club system, and it was an expensive sport. And if you didn't have a lot of money to pay for it, you didn't get to play. And that's where all the scholarships were going, and there were a lot of scholarships, and that just didn't seem fair to me. Terry Liskevich somehow had heard about this because he was coaching the USA women's team in San Diego, and he heard my idea and my desire to do this. And he called me and said, "Hey, I heard about your idea. I think it's great. Kim Oden is retiring as a player." So I mentioned this to her, and she seemed very interested. I suggested to call her, which I did. And so Kim and I hit it off, and we decided we'd do this. And so I called Mrs. Robinson, who was Lincoln High School. And I said, "What do you got going with girls volleyball?" And she said, "You kidding? We can barely get a team. We may not get 6 players this year." I said, "Well, myself and Kim Oden." She goes, "Are you kidding? Kim Oden?" So that was the beginning of Starlings, and from that beginning, thousands of girls have come into the sport and got an opportunity to play, and had an opportunity to maybe get a scholarship and a college education through this, which is what we really wanted to do and want to continue to do.